Today is February the 15th, 2014, and the time is 1:23 p.m. December the 20th, 2013. I was talking to my angel, and I was walking back and forth in front of my bureau of dresser drawers, when all of a sudden my mind experienced a change, and one half of my vision went dark, and it was like a zigzag in between. And on the left side, it was bright light. On the right side, it was dark completely. And all of a sudden, in the light part, I saw an angel visible to me in all his shining glory. Blonde, wavy hair down to the shoulders, a white shining robe with full long sleeves and down to the floor. And I told him, I said, "Oh my golly, are you who I just spoke to? I've been talking to all this time today?" And he said, "Yes." He was seated at a table, a lower table than a dining room table, but not as low as a coffee table. Not a large table, maybe about 4 feet long. And he was smiling. And it was so bright and so glorious that I can't imagine, I can't even fathom how bright it was. He was seated next to her, and she was gorgeous also. Blonde, very, very wavy hair. You'd almost say curls, but not quite, but again, shoulder length. And she was looking adoringly at him. She had a beautiful countenance, but it was totally focused on him. I mean, there was no way that you would think she was thinking anything except her love for him. That's just how it appeared. She was dressed also in the same type of garment, the white robe, full sleeves. I was in front of the table. All of a sudden I was there, right in front of them, in the room. I was no longer by the dresser. I was in front of the table that separated them from me. And he was to my left, and she was to the right. They were both seated. They were not standing. And he was so handsome, and I felt like his nose was a little long, like an Englishman, like you'd think of Winston Churchill's grandparents or great-grandparents who lived in England, that type of a long English nose, more thin and long, and the face more long, but so beautiful and radiant and smiling. I was talking to them in front of the table. Then it seemed like there was a change in the scene or something, a little space. And he got up from the table and walked over to the doors. And the doors were paneled and arched at the top and had window panes. He opened the 2 doors, opening out to the garden. And he told me, look out. And I came over to the edge of the room where the doors were opened, and he was pointing to look out. And then his words were, "We live in houses too." I saw the green meadows and the green lawn, but I also saw way in the distance, because the grounds were huge and long. Probably, I can't imagine how far out the yards were. I mean, it wasn't a yard, it was, half a mile maybe, I don't know, of gardens and green trees. But I did see houses dotted with pink roofs. All of a sudden, a little bird flew into the room and perched on his finger. And then I had earlier been listening to some Celtic music on my CD player, and all of a sudden the music started to play, and he danced with me. We danced. Wild abandon is the only words I can use. It wasn't that fast, but it was just so joyous, just really joyous. And I thought, oh my golly, I'm dancing with an angel. That is really weird. And then I noticed to the right of me, back toward the door area, because I was not there anymore, I was more in the front of the room, that Michael, my husband, was dancing with her. After our dancing, which was so joyous and so beautiful, and it was the Celtic music, just like an Irish, almost like an Irish jig type of music. And he was standing really tall by himself in the room. And I came over to him, walked over to him, more in the front of the room, not toward the back anymore, at all. And my eyes were a little bit weepy, a little bit watery, almost tears. And I asked him, what am I to do? He wrapped his arms around me as if his arms were wings and enfolded me. Michael came over and joined me to the right of me into his chest, and he embraced us. He held us close to his chest. I want to make an additional comment that when he was seated with her, that you saw him perfectly, and you saw her perfectly, as if I was with Michael and looking at him right now, which I am. But there was a multitude of faces or beings surrounding them, all around them. I don't know how many. Maybe about 40. And I would presume they probably were what you would call angels, but they were not fully visible like he and her were, just more translucent type of thing. But I could see that they were there. I couldn't see individuals, make out an individual like you do with people, that you'd say this person looks like this and this person looks like that. They all looked the same. I'm sure they were not, but I couldn't tell because it wasn't clear enough. But I know there were probably 30 or 40 other individuals that were crowded around them, him and her, looking at me across the table when I first came in to the room. At a later time, I went to CVS, and they told me to buy a magazine, Grace Ormond's Wedding Style, Spring-Summer 2014. This is at a later time, much later. About 2 weeks ago. So today is February the 15th, so about 2 weeks ago. And I bought the magazine not knowing why they would suggest it, except maybe just because it had some beautiful scenes of Santorini, an island that had exploded in a volcanic eruption 1700 BC. But that was not the reason for buying the article. I came upon a page 158 in the magazine, and lo and behold, there was the door to the room, or exactly like the door to the room that I was in, and then looked out of. And the location, it says in the magazine, was Wadsworth Mansion at Long Hill Estate, Middletown, Connecticut. But it shows, if you look out from that door opening to the garden, you will see all the beautiful grounds and the trees, just like I looked out upon. So whether or not this place is the place, which I certainly do not make any word for, but it certainly was just like it. So the door had the arched paned top to it portion, and then the two open doors. and then opening up to the garden and the outside. And I was inside the room. I never went outside. I looked upon the outside, but I never went outside. So that's the event and events that I can describe for this.
So what you have just recently found out is the actual identity of the people that you saw.
Well, I was told a long time ago to be in preparation for this event. On August 25th, 2012, I was told that Michael and I were put under 2 Supernifim to be a group of 10, 2 from this world and 8 from other worlds, that were to be under this Supernifim, 2 Supernifims actually, and then that on February the 3rd, we were to receive the Spirit of Truth. So I believe that this meeting with these 2 angels or entities was the meeting with them, the first meeting, and then today, on February 15th, 2014, I was told that these 2 were the 2 that we were to be given over to from those 2 seraphim, the local universe Mother Spirit,
The 2 Supernifim.
and Michael,
From the 2 Supernifim.
from the 2 Supernifim. And on February 3rd, I was told that Michael and I would receive the Spirit of Truth, but during the night at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, actually. So, August 25th, 2012, under the 2 Supernifim, preparing for the time when they would turn us over to the local universe Mother Spirit, and Michael for the Spirit of Truth ceremony. And I believe that this meeting was the first meeting that I was able to actually see them before the Spirit of Truth was given to us on February 3rd, during the early morning hours.
Who are you saying these 2 people are that you saw?
I'm saying that they are Michael and the local universe Mother Spirit.